Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. IRS whistleblowers involved in the investigation of Hunter Biden and his failure to pay taxes on time for 2 years. And then there was a gun charge or something along those lines that Hunter Biden basically got a deal where he pled guilty to 2 counts of filing tax information late, and they dropped the gun charge of somebody who's been convicted of drug offenses isn't allowed to carry a firearm. Okay. Now some IRS whistleblowers came forward to basically say that the DOJ stymied their investigative efforts in that, a pair of IRS whistleblowers doubled down on their previous claims that the Justice Department officials stymied their investigation of Hunter Biden's tax affairs during the congressional testimony on Wednesday. So this last Wednesday is when they were testifying. And these allegations were disputed by the Justice Department and Trump-appointed U.S. attorney who led the government case, who would be David Weiss. Gary Shapley is one of the whistleblowers. He's a 14-year veteran. Joseph Ziegler is a veteran IRS investigator. Joseph Ziegler, I believe, is the one that identifies as a Democrat and is homosexual. Not that that matters, but it's just a point of interest. They sparred with Democrats. U.S. Attorney David Weiss gave his assurance that he had the ultimate authority to bring charges against Hunter Biden. And so Jamie Raskin said to Mr. Shapley, "It was Weiss's decision, right?" Shapley said, "Nope, that's not supported by the facts." And Raskin asked, "Which facts?" "His own admissions that I documented contemporaneously." Then Raskin said, "But he contradicts what you're saying. He doesn't agree with you." So either Weiss is lying or Shapley did a really lousy job of contemporaneous fact documenting. Now, I suppose Weiss could be mistaken. He's told Shapley one thing and remembered something different, but Ziegler said that this investigation didn't appear to follow the normal investigation process. He thought that the investigation was constantly hamstrung and limited and marginalized by DOJ officials, and that we need a special counsel. Okay, both the whistleblowers said they're facing public backlash on it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, 3 minutes into it. Sorry, this is getting me a little bit of time to get into it, but it's important that we all sort of start with the same story. Now, if these were investigations into Jared Kushner's finances or Don Jr.'s finances or something along those lines, and we had IRS whistleblowers saying that the federal government interfered, we'd probably believe the IRS whistleblowers, right? I mean, it makes sense. We'd believe them because there's obvious corruption going on there, and they would be telling us the things we want to hear. The Republicans really do believe that Hunter Biden is this uber criminal, and they really want to believe everything these whistleblowers are saying. So in the spirit of fair play, we should take these whistleblowers' testimony as seriously as we would if the same whistleblowers were blowing the whistle on Don Jr. and Jared Kushner. So that's what I want to throw on. Let's try and get our biases out. Now, I will say there's a huge difference between the corruption of Hunter Biden and the corruption of a Donald Trump Jr. or a Jared Kushner. I think it's going to be night and day difference. But that being aside, let's try and look at this a little more objectively. And so the first question I have is, are these whistleblowers, are they being truthful and honest? Do they really feel that the DOJ hampered their investigation? Are they being fair? We should also ask that. Are they being fair or are they being biased? Maybe we should ask that first. What's their opinion of Hunter Biden? Is that what I want to ask? Are they telling the truth? Yeah. The problem is when you ask if they're telling the truth, you get, well, whose truth? Are they telling the truth? Are they being fair and honest? Are they being unbiased? Four of Swords. There was a lot of contemplation, lying in wait, if they should do this or not, or sitting back and observing. And there was some planning involved with it too. Okay, that's not really giving me a whole lot here. 8 of Cups. I'm wondering, when I see this, it almost makes me wonder if they're planning on leaving the IRS and they were setting themselves up for a private practice or something along those lines. As a for instance, again, I work in the pharmaceutical industry. There's a lot of folks that work with the FDA in the industry wide. They work for FDA for 10, 15, 20 years, and then they go into private, 20 years, they get a great pension, and then they go into a private practice as consultants for companies to give them the insights as to what the FDA is looking for when they do pre-approval inspections. It's one of the things that we do before a drug gets approved. So, they hang up a shingle and they charge top dollar and they get it because they used to work for the FDA. You could say the same thing for, the law tax consultants of Shapley and Langley LLC, something along those lines. There's definitely some waiting, lying low, planning involved, and some leaving. And I was asking, were they being honest and truthful? Well, we'll see how these come out. But there was definitely, this wasn't a spur of the moment thing. This was something that was well contemplated. In the past, they came forward with their story, the Page of Wands. They decided to take action on this maneuver. Things have been moving very fast since these IRS whistleblowers came out. Lots of wands here, lots of action. They're trying to project strength and professionalism, I suppose. I haven't watched the meeting. If that was televised, I would be curious to watch that. But they're trying to show the mastery of their craft. The lesson to be learned: the welcoming, the comings and goings, the celebration. They're obviously going to be hailed as heroes by a certain percent of the population here. Outcome: money, self-enrichment. Okay, so I asked if they were being truthful or not, and I didn't get that. What I got was, why did they do this? Or what's currently happening with the situation? Which is usually the first question I ask, is what's the energy around the situation? Okay, so we're going to have some, that they had the meeting, they got some new information to act on. These whistleblowers came out with their message. Things are moving quickly. It's now, you look at the credibility of the whistleblowers and the strength of their data, and you're going to make a decision as to what's going to happen with it and who's benefiting from it and who's leaving. Honestly, this isn't telling me about them being honest. This is telling me either the investigation, this leaving card could be that they listened to them and that this committee meeting is going nowhere. We listened to it, we're going to adjourn the committee, and we don't see anything of value to continue to pursue. The underlying thing I'm getting from this, though, is I do think those two IRS whistleblowers it looks like they might be trying to set themselves up for the private sector. For entertainment purposes only, I'll frame it like that. Now the thing is, if somebody brought these charges up against Donald Trump or his kin, the right would have lost their mind. And the left would have wanted a special prosecutor or something like that just to prove it. Now, again, generally speaking with the left, with the Democrats, if Joe Biden was accused of, being in cahoots with China and being owned by China, we'd want an investigation into it because we'd want to know. Whereas the Republicans would never want an investigation. How dare you question dear leader? And that's the difference. That's the difference between the cult of personality, that is Donald Trump, and the fact that Joe Biden is just a president like everybody else. The GOP and the MAGA crowd cannot stand the thought of their president being investigated and held accountable because it's a cult. Plain and simple. All right, so bringing it back to this one. It's just, again, it's not to trash on the MAGA folks and such. It's just to show you the difference in mentality and mindset. If Hunter Biden did something wrong and there's evidence that the DOJ was being biased, then bring in a special counsel that's unbiased. Let the chips fall where they may. But want the same thing when we start investigating Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, Donald Trump, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We want that same courtesy. Are we going to get it? Okay. Are these investigators legit? Do they have legitimate concerns, or is this just propaganda? Let's see if we can get an answer to this one. Queen of Swords, Sun card. Okay, so tough decisions, exposing the truth on things. Okay, so we've got Hunter Biden in the past again, looking at the I'm wondering if this is when they go into the private sector. We'll see. Let's just read it as I asked it. So they had to make a tough decision because they want the truth out there. This could be about attacking the wealthy, the elite, the Hunter Bidens of this world, going forward with information, things of value. Decision needs to be made. Temperance. Give it time. Let it integrate. Let the investigations go. And then we start on a new journey. And there'll be celebrations. Okay. So if we look at this, they should probably follow up more. I would suspect that this committee should follow up more on what these IRS whistleblowers have to say. Are they telling the truth? Are they offering anything of value? And then once you've done that, you have to decide, is this worth pursuing anymore? I think what's going to happen with the outcome, or not the outcome, but the lesson to be learned is temperance. Take your time, be patient, do a thorough investigation on this one. The outcome is going to be the fool card. Either these guys were fooled and they're foolish, or they have brought something up that requires further investigation. Anyways, the answer is going to be celebrated. Because when you're speaking the truth, we celebrate the truth in this country. Or at least we used to. And maybe a majority of the population still does. So my thought on it is, with these whistleblowers, go ahead, do the investigation. Investigate the whistleblowers' claims. Are they legitimate? If they're legitimate, then look into it further. Because I think all of us would want to know, if Hunter Biden's a criminal, that he's held to account like any other criminal. Does his criminal behavior extend to Joe Biden? I don't know. You won't know until you investigate it. But the thing is, you want somebody like a Jack Smith on it. Somebody who's going to keep it quiet, keep it hush-hush, do the work professionally and thoroughly, and expose what's out there. Fair is fair. But here's the thing, and not to be overly cynical, how many politicians are going to come out clean and not going to have skeletons in their closet? So you have to balance that temperance with what's breaking the law and what's should be the law but isn't. I'm sure Hunter Biden's gotten jobs because his last name is Biden, and his dad was a powerful senator and a VP and now a P. You don't think for a second? I think Burisma absolutely had him on the board there because it provided them some protection and gave them some access to the White House back in the day. Absolutely they did. Duh. It's kind of like, having Joe Montana's kid on your football team. I don't think he had a son. Did he have a son? I don't remember. Okay, Jerry Rice. I know Jerry Rice had a son. If you have like Jerry Rice's son on your football team, why would you pick him? Because he's got talent? Sure. Why not? And then you get to meet Jerry Rice because his dad's going to come to the games. So you get to see Jerry Rice at all your games. There's lots of reasons why you would do that. It makes sense. Derp. All right. If they do a thorough investigation into these whistleblowers' accusations, what will come of it? How about that? let's end it. Let's end it with this. If they do a thorough investigation, what will come with it? There'll be agreements, and there's that new investigation, that new journey. Okay, does that mean they find something, or do these two guys take a walk? Knight of Cups going forward with that offering of friendship. Now holding on to what you've got. I don't like that one. I don't like that from the IRS point of view. I don't like that one for them, unless they're trying to not have the investigation. But I asked if they did investigate it. Gonna have the Emperor overseeing things. Star card. And the Knight of Swords with the Ten of Swords. If they go investigating, are they gonna find anything? I think this card is going to... The information would be... If they did this investigation, the information would be held very tightly. It would be guarded very tightly by somebody, by the person overseeing this investigation. Our truth hopes would be the lesson here. You're hoping for the best on this one. And the outcome is the Knight of Swords. And then the end, the undoing. I think, and I'm going to be a little bit biased here, I think that they really wouldn't find anything extraordinary. If they did the investigation, they wouldn't find anything extraordinary. Something that's not impacting Biden. They're going to find that, Biden was clear of all this. He wasn't involved. If Hunter Biden was involved, it was personal gain for Hunter Biden. It wasn't impacting Joe Biden. And once that information was out, it would be released quickly to exonerate the president on this one. It would absolutely be the end of this investigation of the Biden crime family, probably the end of their careers. Now, mind you, they are IRS agents. They're not going to be fired for that. But their careers aren't going to go anywhere at that point. That's going to be, you take your shot, you better not miss type of thing, because you've now really insulted or angered very powerful people. So you better, that first reading where it's like the Four of Swords and contemplating things, and Two of Wands, really planning out your moves. I think they say for assassinations, like for Putin, you take your best shot, but you better not miss. That's what this card will do if you miss. Okay, so ultimately, if they investigate this, they're not going to get a lot of information. They're not going to be able to tie Biden to this information, and that information will get out pretty quickly that Biden has no ties to this whatsoever. So in the end, what is this? It's a giant nothing burger. It's all show. It's all pomp and circumstance. And there's nothing substantial underneath it. Okay, there you go. IRS Whistleblowers. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for the comments and the likes and the shares and all that. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.